I heard that she was very prone to the Jyotishis, predictions and all. Apart from that, but how do you see this thing of the 20-point program, Garibi Hatao, and then the population control, which backfired on this thing? Was it an overreach of all these things? Though, as a slogan, Garibi Hatao was, one of the finest slogans any government could give. After 30 years, almost 30 years of Indian independence, one government is saying that we want to remove poverty. Nobody can disagree with it. Of course, population control was key. But how did this overreach happen?
See, certainly, like Sanjay Gandhi saw himself as the next Lee Kuan Yew, and he wanted to be the dictator of India right from 1973 onwards. He planned to be the dictator, that there would be no elections. He went on record saying, we won't have elections, we want economic growth. And he was an out-and-out capitalist, and in fact, in quite a bad way. He was ruthless. He saw himself as the next Lee Kuan Yew. He wanted to have these kind of programs of ban dowry, teach literacy, cleanliness, all those things. He had those aims. But the problem is he had no constitutional authority. He was a law unto himself. He was very, very ruthless in getting rid of people who disagreed with him. And that was the problem, that, if all these aims were done in a democratic setup and with consensus, they would have worked. Garibi Hatao, again, it was the 1969 slogan at the time of the Congress split, when the slogan of the opposition was Indira Hatao, Desh Bachao. And Indira Gandhi retaliated with saying, Ye kehte hain, Indira Hatao, main kehti hu, Garibi Hatao. That is, the opposition were actually attacking Indira Gandhi personally by name, saying Indira Hatao, Desh Bachao. But she elevated the battle against them to a much higher moral plane by saying, Ye kehte hain Indira Hatao, main kehti hu, Garibi Hatao. And according to Pranab Mukherjee, it was actually my father who said, shorten it to one sentence, Garibi Hatao, because that is a catchphrase that will take the imagination of the nation. And that is what happened. It won her the 1971 election, the Garibi Hatao campaign. So I think
and what do you think she went for elections? Because nobody ever thought that there will be elections, emergency will be lifted. But what do you think? What made her do that?
See, I have written a lot of articles on what compelled Indira Gandhi to lift the emergency. There was no overt reason for doing so, because the economy had been brought under control. Law and order was good. The trains were running on time. There was discipline. There was no foreign pressure to lift the emergency. I mean, there were some noises being made by some of the Western countries, but not much, because the Western countries were happy to do economic deals with India. They were selling a lot of arms and ammunition and other equipment to India. In fact, the trade with the Western countries boomed during the emergency. And, a lot of it was because of Sanjay Gandhi, who did, it was rumored and allegations were made that he was doing these deals and taking a commission. There were all these rumors floating around that the massive import orders placed by India on Western countries, A, had political purposes, and B, also boosted the economy, but he also was rumored and alleged to have benefited. So I have written some articles saying all the commonly known theories that have been floated to explain the end of the emergency, none of them stand up to scrutiny, because each of them has serious flaws with it. I've written a few detailed articles on that, but I think in the end it was that Indira Gandhi, as my father said, when it came to the crunch, she was Nehru's daughter much, much more than she was Sanjay Gandhi's mother. Because Sanjay Gandhi had said that there will be no elections for at least the next 40 years. And he wanted to concentrate on economic development. But I think in the end, Indira Gandhi did decide to hold the elections. There were very few people who were in on her decision. Sanjay Gandhi did not know about it. In fact, Sanjay Gandhi came to know about it only from her newspaper, from her broadcast on All India Radio when she announced the elections, and he had a very angry throwdown with her. But around end of November 1976 was, I think, when she made the decision to hold the elections, because after the AICC session in Guwahati, where Sanjay Gandhi was idolized and being compared to Jesus Christ and Shankaracharya and everybody else as all being, because he was also the same age, 30, 32 as Jesus Christ and Shankaracharya, he was eulogized a lot. But after she came back from the November 1976 Guwahati session, she told PN Dhar and my father HY Sharada Prasad, I'm going to um, end the emergency and call for elections. I know that I will lose very badly, but this is something which I have to do. And she knew that she was going to lose the elections and that she would be in for a very difficult time, but still she declared the elections. The common reason being told by a lot of people was that the Intelligence Bureau had predicted that she would win 340 seats. But this is actually not true. The Intelligence Bureau did predict that she would win 340 seats. But PN Dhar, who gave her the report, said, surely you're not going to believe this, are you? And she said, of course not. The Intelligence Bureau will tell me what they think I want to hear. But I know that I'm going to lose. But still, it is very, very necessary for me to hold elections.
Okay.
And she held the elections knowing that she would lose very badly.
Okay, maybe thanks to her democratic sense, which she inherited from Pandit Nehru. And
Yes.
that also brings into the question, people like your father, H.Y. Sharada Prasad, was a Gandhian. And of course, Mr. Dhar too. How did they survive in all these 2 years there in PMO? That must be, a task by itself. You also told me that when he died, many people wanted his diaries because there will be no things which can be used against
Yeah.
this. Of course. So how did he? What was his predicament? Because you will be seeing him on a daily basis at home.
Yeah, see, there were a lot of the people who were Indira Gandhi's closest advisors and her well-wishers. P.N. Haksar, P.N. Dhar, Gopalaswamy Parthasarathi, N.K. Seshan, and my father. And most of them had been brought into government by Jawaharlal Nehru personally. And they were all right from 1973. They were very, very unhappy at the way things were going and about Sanjay Gandhi's activities. They repeatedly warned Indira Gandhi about Sanjay Gandhi, but she turned a blind eye to their protests about Sanjay Gandhi. And in 1973 onwards, PN Dhar and my father and N.K. Seshan, they repeatedly offered their resignations to Indira Gandhi, but she refused to accept them, saying that the country needs your services. And P.N. Haksar had been brought into government by Jawaharlal Nehru directly. Gopalaswamy Parthasarathi had also been brought into government by Jawaharlal Nehru. He was picked up from PTI and the Hindu. He was a journalist. And PN Dhar, it was Jaiprakash Narayan who had told Indira Gandhi to take him into her office after after Jaiprakash Narayan had told Indira Gandhi to consult PN Dhar on the bank nationalization in 1969. And then he told Indira Gandhi to appoint PN Dhar to as her principal secretary. And N.K. Seshan had been Nehru's private secretary from 1944 onwards. And so they all went to P.N. Haksar and said, we all want to resign. And P.N. Haksar and G. Parthasarathi said, no, you should not resign under any circumstances. We have to stay within the system and prevent things from getting worse. Because if we are not there, then there will be nobody who will stand up to Sanjay Gandhi and R.K. Dhawan and Bansi Lal and Om Mehta and V.C. Shukla and all his gang. And if we are not there, the nation will suffer very, very greatly, um, because nobody will have the guts to stand up to Sanjay Gandhi and others. So we must all stay within the system and prevent further deterioration. And P.N. Huxer and Gopal Swami Parthasarathy said, um, we will all feel morally superior and our consciences will be clear, but nobody in the country can stand up to Sanjay Gandhi, and we have to stay within the system, and we have to remain loyal to the ideals of Jawaharlal Nehru and see that the country continues on the path of Jawaharlal Nehru rather than on the path of Sanjay Gandhi. So he said none of us should resign. We have to stay within the system,
Yeah, yeah.
prevent all the
You explained
excesses,
that
and it
point.
was NK
Yeah,
Session.
you explained that
And it
point.
was NK Session who
Now,
suffered a lot.
yeah, let me
Yeah,
come to
NK Session is
the
the real
question,
hero of the emergency.
because
Yeah.
there was this feeling that after the killing of Mujibur Rahman, there was panic in Delhi, about, because CAA was staging very many killings, like in Chile, Allende died in 74, and then in
Yeah.
75, I think Mujibur Rahman. So there was this feeling that next in target is, India. So do you think that
Oh, yes.
international politics also played a role in that?
Oh, yes, very much. In fact, I have elaborated on this in some of my videos that Indira Gandhi actually wanted to lift the emergency. And she, on 15th August 1975, she intended to announce relaxation of several of the measures of the emergency in the Red Fort speech. But it was a very pointed signal of Sheikh Mujibur's killing on 15th August 1975, India's Independence Day. Was a very pointed, strong signal to India. It is not a coincidence of the timing. And as they were driving to Red Fort together, Indira Gandhi and my father were in the car together, and she said to him, "You were vehemently opposing my imposition of the emergency. Now you know why I was compelled to declare the emergency. India was next." And then she said, "Now, after this, we cannot relax the emergency." So actually, while they were in the car, my father was rewriting her speech. And even as she began her speech at Red Fort, he was hastily scribbling the remaining paragraphs of her speech, that even when she was delivering one paragraph, he was writing the next paragraph and handing it over to her, the Hindi translator, who would then give it to her because the Red Fort speech was in Hindi. So he was writing it, and the translator was translating it and handing the handwritten papers over to Indira Gandhi. So certainly, otherwise she was intending to declare the relaxation of the emergency, only keeping a few provisions like the coffee posa, some of the economic offenses, but relax everything else. She intended to announce the release of all the political prisoners, everything. And in fact, when Salvador Allende was killed in Chile, Fidel Castro was on a flight to Vietnam. He diverted the flight to Delhi, called Indira Gandhi to the airport, and at the airport he told her, "India is next. You are next." And also, Leonid Brezhnev immediately sent her a lot of intelligence reports saying that after Salvador Allende, you are next. And certainly that was her paranoia. She knew that she was going to be killed. She referred to it several times. And especially after Lalit Narayan Mishra's killing,
Yes,
she
yes.
said, "It is only a matter of time before I get killed." And certainly there were all these factors which precipitated the emergency. Indira Gandhi had got into her head that George Fernandez would kill her. It was just an idea she had, and nothing would shake that idea out of her head that George Fernandez was going to kill her sooner or later. And so there were all these factors, and certainly the killing of Mujib was a very great factor. She had warned him repeatedly that of the coup against him. Uh, she had told him several times, in fact, even given him the names and the
Okay.
ranks
Okay.
of the people
Yeah,
who
we
were
can
going
go
to
on and
assassinate.
on, but let us conclude. You think, what do you think, looking back after 50 years, was it necessary? Was it a bad phase of Indian democracy? Has Indian democracy and the parties learned any lessons from emergency of 75?
Oh, certainly. See, my father had said the emergency damaged our democratic roots very badly, and a battering was dealt to the concept of the rule of law. But but the state had been saved from a very grave danger. And my father added, if Indira Gandhi had thrown in the towel at that point of time, then there would have been very serious irreparable damage caused to India. So certainly the emergency was something that I think Indira Gandhi had very good reasons to do because she had the country to hold together. Jayaprakash Narayan had only a single point agenda of removing Indira Gandhi, but he did not have any plan in place of how to run the country after removing Indira Gandhi. And Indira Gandhi knew that only she had the skills to hold the country together at a time when there were threats from all sides. There was instability in Bangladesh, there was the coup in Bangladesh, there were the problems in Pakistan, there were threats all surrounding India, external threats. And she knew that only she had the skills to stabilize India. And of course, you have to remember that she had all the intelligence reports.
Yeah,
She
fine.
knew
But
exactly
you
who
think
was
the
funding
political,
Jayaprakash Narayan.
yes, that's a positive. What about the negatives? What's your thing?
The Yeah, the negatives were press censorship. Press censorship was really not required, and a lot of the people need not have been arrested, especially the socialists. The socialists' opposition to the emergency was ideological. They did not have any ulterior motives, unlike the RSS, which had ulterior motives, unlike several of the organizations which were funding Jayaprakash Narayan and George Fernandez. The sources of the funds for George Fernandez and for Jayaprakash Narayan were extremely dubious. It was the foreign intelligence agencies funding them through various fronts.
Yeah,
And the money was.
railway men gave one lakh rupees thanks to the railway strike. But that is all well explained. She can say whatever she wanted that time. Thank you for your time and